As NFL Draft Day approaches, we know we'll be asking the question, what were they thinking? Maybe today we can find out what they're going to be thinking. From the Sporting News Studios, I'm Tom Vandervoort. Joining me now as we prepare for the NFL Draft, our NFL writer, Vinnie Iyer. So, Vinnie, we're going to go through a virtual war room scenario.
Try to put me in the minds.
Yes, you're going to jump into the minds of the general managers, the top 5 picks. We're only going to do the top 5 picks of this draft, and you're going to tell us what they're thinking right about now and maybe on draft day, as they sit down and decide, what pick to make or whether to try to deal that pick. Let's start with Kansas City, the Kansas City Chiefs. Is it as simple as picking Luke Joeckel, or do these guys really want to trade down?
Well, I think obviously they want to trade down because they want that multiple value. They need a lot of help, being the last team in the NFL last year. So they want to get going with Andy Reid in that era. But you look here, if they stay put, we talked about Brandon Albert, their left tackle. He was franchise tag, but it's clear that he's not crazy about them. They're not crazy about him. They'd like to move him. So that doesn't.
So maybe they move him for picks.
Yeah, and that could be their solution there. And there's an offensive tackle waiting for them here. So Luke Joeckel, you brought him up from Texas A&M. I think he's right there. I think Eric Fisher of Central Michigan.
Yeah.
It depends which guy do they like a little bit more at that spot. So I think it's going to be one of those two guys there. I feel pretty good about that. Defensively, I think was in the picture, but that's their strength right now. They need to solidify that offensive line.
All right, let's go to number 2 in the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Blaine Gabbert experiment, it feels like it might be over. Are they looking QB here, or would they trade down if they could?
Well, I think if we could throw the trade down scenario to
pretty much every top pick, right?
It's all about selling another team that you might take who they really want. And here, that player could be Geno Smith, because you mentioned Blaine Gabbert. It's a new coaching staff, new era here. They're not happy with Gabbert. Geno Smith, very strong possibility here. I think another player to watch is Deion Jordan from Oregon, defensive end outside linebacker, that they need pass rush help. They really struggle there. So Ezekiel Ansah, BYU, has to be in the mix a little bit. And to another degree, Sharif Floyd. And the GM there, David Caldwell, said it's already down to 2 guys. That's good, because when you're number 2, you hope it's down to 2 guys.
Right, then you're going to get at least one of them. Let's talk about the number 3 pick in the Oakland Raiders. They just traded for Matt Flynn, so they have a quarterback. Of course, this has happened to Matt Flynn before. Would they consider a quarterback here at 3, or are they really looking defense?
Well, I think the way their offseason has gone, I don't think they would reach so-called for a quarterback here. I think a guy I really like from them is Sharif Floyd. I think they have to look at him. Their defensive line, everyone pretty much left this offseason, from Tommy Kelly to Desmond Bryant. You know him from the DUI picture. He went to Cleveland. Richard Seymour's out of there. Matt Shaughnessy's out there. They need an impact 4-3 type defensive lineman. I like Sharif Floyd of Florida to fill that bill. Yeah,
certainly a number of candidates on the D-line this year. Let's go to 4 and the Philadelphia Eagles. Offensive coach and Chip Kelly, but they have had some changes in their secondary. Where are they going with this pick?
Well, in the Pac-12, coaches couldn't read Chip Kelly's mind. He was all over the place. He was always one step ahead of them. And I think that's going to be the same case here with the Eagles working with their front office. I think they could go basically anywhere. I mean, I'm intrigued by Geno Smith. If he slips there to number 4, they have Michael Vick, Nick Foles. When you have 2 quarterbacks, you usually don't have one that you're sold on. So if Chip Kelly likes him, go with him. I think they'll look at Deion Jordan if he falls there. Another possibility is the top cornerback in the draft, D. Milner. We know Nnamdi Asomugha, Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie, they moved on from them.
Okay, and number 5, the Detroit Lions. A lot of changes on the offensive line, or a lot of guys leaving, and I don't think they have their ends from last year, right? Either of the defensive ends.
Yeah, they could go in many directions, too. I think they've been tied to Eric Fisher a little bit because he's a Central Michigan product. Jeff Backus, a Michigan product, retired there at left tackle. So all keeping it in Motown and that theme, you look for that. But they could use D. Milner, too, in the back end. They could use Deion Jordan. They could use Ezekiel Ansah. We know their tackles are pretty strong with Ndamukong Suh and Nick Fairley, but they need to work that defense outside. So I think the Lions and Eagles are 2 big wild cards here that will set the tone for the 6 through 10 picks.
And with respect to those teams, especially the Lions, when you think about not last year but the year before and making the playoffs, is this a team that wants to stay there, pick up an impact player, and feel like they can get back to that level pretty quickly?
Yeah, I mean, you look at where they are in the division. The Minnesota Vikings passed them as a wild card team last year. The Bears think they're improved with Mark Trestman as their coach. So Lions have got to make a move. Jim Schwartz is safe for now, but I think they really have to get an impact player really hit on this number 5 pick.
All right, we'll see what happens. The first 5 picks of the NFL Draft as outlined by Vinnie Iyer. From the Sporting News Studios, I'm Tom Vandervoort. We'll see you next time.